Today's passage is a very interesting one. It's found in the Gospel of John, and John 7:53 through chapter 8, verse 11. This story, this incident, is not found in the most ancient manuscripts that we have of John's Gospel. Yet it's included in most of our modern translations. And I share that up front because I think that's important to acknowledge. And yet the church historically has included this story, I think because it speaks so much to who Jesus is and how he would respond, that the church felt it was valid to include it. And this is the famous story of the scribes and Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. Now, of course, it's impossible for somebody to be caught in an act of adultery by her or himself. And so it says something about, frankly, the chauvinism of that culture, that they would only bring the woman and not bring the man as well. And that's very important to notice right off the bat. And they make her stand in front of everybody and says she was caught in the very act of committing adultery. What does that say about the person who caught her and the person she was with, that they are watching this? And they're testing Jesus by saying, now, according to the law of Moses, she's supposed to be stoned. So what do you say? And Jesus bent down, he wrote with his finger in the ground. And then in verse 7, it says, when they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, let anyone among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her. And once again, he bent down and wrote on the ground. When they heard it, they went away one by one, beginning with the elders. This is a really emotionally fraught passage. And the phrase I use to think about this devotion is holding people in sin. And Jesus' point is, every single one of us has sinned. And that's why he says, let the one without sin throw the first stone. And that's why they go away from the oldest to the youngest, because the older we are, hopefully, we grow in humility in the recognition that we're not perfect. We have made mistakes. And so who am I to cast a stone at someone else who has also sinned? And yet we know that there are some sins that carry greater consequences than others. And this is painful, and it's difficult. It's difficult for the person, it's difficult for those who surround that individual as well. But none of us wants to be defined by the worst moment in our life. You don't want to be held and thought of only for the worst thing that you ever did. And it's not healthy or good for us to hold other people in sin and to define them solely by the worst thing they ever did, and to lose sight of all the good that they've done, all the qualities that they still bear, even though they are a flawed, fallen sinner, as we all are. One of the tasks of the church is to help people to lead holy, Jesus-like lives. But that also means we need to put down the stones and not to throw them at one another, but to seek God's forgiveness ourselves.